Imagine walking into the biggest supermarket in the world, not your regular grocery store. This one sells oil, gold, fighter jets, and computer chips. You grab what you need, walk up to the checkout counter, and the cashier says, "That'll be 50 billion or dollars." You reach into your pocket and pull out Chinese yuan. "Sorry, we don't take that here. You try euros." "Nope, you try British pounds. Dollars only." Now here's the weird part. This isn't an American store. This is the global market. And somehow, one country's currency became the only accepted form of payment for almost everything on Earth. How did that happen? Let's find out. To understand why the dollar is king, we need to go back to 1944. World War II is ending. Europe is destroyed. Factories are rubble. Economies are in ruins. But one country came out stronger than ever: the United States. So the world's leaders gathered in a small town called Bretton Woods and made a deal. Here's how it worked. Every country would tie their currency to the US dollar, and the US dollar would be tied to gold. 1 ounce of gold equals $35. Simple. It was like a promise. You can always trade your dollars for real gold. And because America held most of the world's gold supply at the time, everyone trusted it. The dollar became the anchor of the entire global economy. But here's where it gets interesting. Running the world's reserve currency is expensive. America started spending a lot. Wars, programs, foreign aid. They were printing more dollars than they had gold to back them up. Other countries noticed. France literally sent a warship to New York to collect their gold. They were calling America's bluff. So in 1971, President Nixon made one of the most important economic decisions in modern history. He walked up to a podium and said, "We're no longer converting dollars to gold." Just like that. The gold promise was broken. The dollar was now backed by nothing? Well, not exactly nothing. America had a plan, and it involved something far more valuable than gold: oil. The one thing every country on Earth needs. Cars, planes, factories, heating. Modern civilization runs on oil. And in the early 1970s, the biggest oil producers in the world were in the Middle East, especially Saudi Arabia. So America made a deal. Not a public formal treaty, more like a handshake in a back room. The deal was simple. Saudi Arabia would sell its oil exclusively in US dollars. Every country that wanted Saudi oil, China, Japan, Germany, India, would first need to get dollars. In return, America would provide military protection and weapons to Saudi Arabia. This was genius. Think about it. If every country needs oil and oil can only be bought with dollars, then every country needs dollars. Suddenly, the whole world had to keep giant reserves of US dollars in their central banks. Not because they loved America, but because they literally couldn't keep the lights on without dollars. This system got a name, the Petrodollar, and it spread beyond Saudi Arabia. OPEC, the organization of major oil-producing countries, followed the same model. Oil was priced in dollars. Everywhere. Now here's the part people miss. This didn't just help America sell more dollars, it created a cycle. Countries earn dollars through trade, then they invest those dollars back into American assets, treasury bonds, stocks, real estate. That money flows right back into the US economy. It's like owning the only casino in town where everyone has to play, and the house always wins. So when Nixon broke the gold promise, it didn't matter. The dollar wasn't backed by gold anymore. It was backed by something the entire world needed every single day: energy. Here's an ironic twist. Remember how America broke up with gold in 1971? Well, gold is still priced in US dollars. When you see the news say, gold hits $2,000 an ounce, that's not because gold is American. It's because the global gold market was built on the dollar system. London, where most of the world's gold is traded, prices everything in dollars. Why? Because when you're the world's reserve currency, you become the measuring stick. Everything gets compared to you. It's like how we measure weight in kilograms, not because kilograms are better, but because everyone agreed to use the same standard. And this creates a fascinating relationship. When the dollar gets stronger, gold usually gets cheaper because it takes fewer dollars to buy the same amount of gold. When the dollar weakens, gold prices shoot up. They move like two ends of a seesaw. So even though America said, "We don't do gold anymore," gold still orbits around the dollar like a planet around the sun. The breakup happened, but gold never really moved on. And this is the thing about the dollar. Even when you try to separate from it, you find it's woven into the fabric of how the world measures value. Gold didn't choose the dollar. The system did. Now let's walk into a different aisle of our global supermarket. Technology, specifically microchips and aviation. These two industries show how deep the dollar's roots really go. Take microchips. Every smartphone, every computer, every modern car needs them. The most advanced chips in the world are designed in America and manufactured in Taiwan using American technology. When Samsung in South Korea buys chip-making equipment from ASML in the Netherlands, guess what currency that deal is in? Dollars. The entire semiconductor supply chain, from raw materials to finished chips, runs on dollars. Now look up at the sky. See that plane? Whether it's a Boeing or an Airbus, airlines pay in dollars. Jet fuel, dollars. Spare parts, dollars. Airport landing fees at international hubs, often dollars. The aviation industry chose the dollar decades ago because when everyone uses the same currency, you don't lose money on exchange rates for every single transaction. But here's the real power move: SWIFT. It's not a Taylor Swift reference. SWIFT is the messaging system that banks use to send money across borders. Almost every international transaction goes through SWIFT, and the U.S. has enormous influence over it. This means if America doesn't like what a country is doing, they can cut them off from SWIFT. No SWIFT access means no international trade, no buying chips, no buying planes, no buying anything from the global market. Iran found this out the hard way. Russia felt it in 2022. The dollar isn't just a currency anymore, it's infrastructure. It's the highway that global trade drives on, and America holds the keys to every on-ramp. So we've seen that the dollar is backed by oil, by technology, by financial infrastructure. But there's one more thing holding it all together, and it's the thing nobody likes to talk about: military power. The United States spends more on its military than the next 10 countries combined. It has over 750 military bases in 80 countries around the world. Aircraft carriers patrol every major ocean. This isn't just about fighting wars, it's about protecting trade routes. The Strait of Hormuz, where 20% of the world's oil passes through. The U.S. Navy is there. The South China Sea, where trillions of dollars in goods are shipped every year. The U.S. Navy is there too. When you keep your savings in dollars, you're not just trusting America's economy. You're trusting that the most powerful military in human history will keep the system stable. No other currency comes with that guarantee. This is why the dollar is different from the euro or the yen or the yuan. It's not just about economics. It's about power. Economic power, technological power, and military power. All three legs of the stool. Remove any one of them, and the whole thing gets shaky. But right now, no other country has all three. And that brings us to the big question. China is trying. In 2023, China bought oil from Saudi Arabia and paid in yuan for the first time. Brazil and Argentina started trading in their own currencies. Russia, cut off from SWIFT, turned to the Chinese yuan. The BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, have been openly talking about creating an alternative to the dollar system. So, is the dollar in trouble? Here's the honest answer: not yet. And here's why. Imagine you're a country holding your savings. You need a currency that's stable, that you can spend anywhere, and that won't lose its value overnight. The yuan? China controls its exchange rate and has capital restrictions. The euro? Europe's economy is fragmented across dozens of countries. Bitcoin? Way too volatile. The dollar isn't perfect. America has $34 trillion in debt. It prints money aggressively, but it's still the least risky option in a world full of risky options. It's like an old bridge. Everyone complains about it. Everyone says it might collapse someday, but everyone still drives across it because there's no other bridge. That said, the cracks are real. Every time America uses the dollar as a weapon, sanctions, SWIFT bans, it gives other countries one more reason to find an alternative. The dollar's biggest strength is also its biggest vulnerability. So next time you see oil prices, gold prices, or chip deals in the news, all quoted in dollars, you'll know it's not a coincidence. It's the result of a system built over 80 years through gold promises, oil deals, technological dominance, and military power. The dollar isn't just money, it's the operating system of global trade. And just like any operating system, it works great, until someone builds a better one. Will that happen in our lifetime? Maybe. The world is slowly, carefully, nervously exploring alternatives. But for now, when you walk up to that global supermarket checkout counter, there's still only one currency accepted everywhere. Thanks for watching. If this changed how you see that dollar bill in your wallet, hit subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.